Hey guys, it's Rock here, and in this video we're going to be looking at the next primal fight in your story, which is Garuda. This is available at level 44, and again I'm going to be playing from a scholar point of view here. Now this is the most challenging fight you'll have done so far during your story and probably in the game. And I warn you now, we don't actually have the cleanest of kills during this video, but you can still see the tactics, what the boss does, and learn from our mistakes so you don't have to make the same ones. Now first up you'll see that there are 4 stone pillars in the centre of the room, and these need to be saved from damage because they're useful later on in the fight. You'll need to stay away from them because Garuda's spells like friction will AoE you and the stone if you're stood next to them. You should also stand away from each other for this point because again, when you get targeted by a spell, it will hit anyone that's near you. Now in this video you'll see that we were actually quite close to each other, the range, but this was for healing and it didn't actually seem to make much difference during the fight. At around 80% you'll see the first proper mechanic of this fight, which is where Garuda will teleport. When she does this she'll land and cast a spell called Mistral Shriek. Here you'll need to use the pillars to protect you, so make sure there's a pillar in between you and Garuda, and then after this you can go back to tanking the boss and staying away from the pillars again. Now shortly after this phase of the fight, when she's teleported, done Mistral Shriek, she'll then summon ads called Razor Plumes. These need to be DPS down as soon as possible as they're going to attack the pillars and try and destroy them. Now scholars out there, you can put your dots up on the boss, Bio, Bio2 and Miasma, and then use Bane to spread them when the ads come. Now it's not always easy to do, but something that will help you, and if your fairy is positioned near the tank, you should have some time to help kill the ads as this tops up the tank with Embrace. Once you've completed that stage of the fight and you've killed off all the ads, you'll go back to a tank and spank fight, and Garuda will then do exactly the same at around 60%, except this time she'll teleport to the other side of the room, opposite to where you are now, so you may need to reposition yourself. After the Shriek you can choose whether to tank her where she is now, or you can go back to where she was before. Either way, make sure that you kill the Razor Plumes again as they're going to start damaging the pillars. The third and final time she teleports will be at around 40 to 50%, and this time she will teleport into the middle. Now you'll see here she actually teleports while we've still got a couple of ads left because we didn't deal with them very well. But in your fight hopefully the ads will be down, she'll teleport to the middle, she'll do her Shriek as usual, and then you'll have another set of ads to deal with. After this phase is complete the fight changes a bit. So you can see here that the pillars have actually been destroyed earlier than they should have been. Now this is because 1, we handled the ads badly, and 2, Garuda actually did her AoE which hit the 2 DPS in the middle of the room, and because they were stood behind a pillar that caused it to take extra damage. Now obviously we set this up on purpose so you can see how not to do the fight, so in your fight just try and make sure that this doesn't happen. So what you've just seen there is what happens when Garuda's taken a bit more damage. She'll teleport to the centre of the area and use Aerial Blast. This is a really strong attack which you need to mitigate the damage of by standing behind a pillar. Now preferably you want to stand behind the largest pillar as this will help mitigate the most damage. If all are the same then it doesn't really matter. You'll see here that I stand behind a small one because it's close to me, but really you should stand behind the largest one. You'll take damage no matter what you do here, but you'll take less if you're stood behind the largest pillar. Once this is done you need to top off everyone's health as soon as possible and make sure to stay behind her in the circle that becomes in the middle of the area. So from here on out you need to stay in the centre of the area, deal with any ads that come and try to stay behind her as much as possible. This is a pretty intense phase and you need to try and make sure that everyone's topped off at all times. She does some pretty big attacks, which is why you need to stay behind her, and you'll see that one of the party members here actually dies and I nearly do too. So try and make sure that doesn't happen. I'd recommend using the melee limit break here to get through the phase as soon as possible, but you could also use a defensive cooldown if you're having major problems keeping everyone alive. Or you can use it during the transition into this phase, that's really up to you, you just need to decide what you're going to struggle with. The fight doesn't really change from here, so I'll leave you to watch the rest of the video and I'll be back at the end. So that's it guys, a really fun and challenging fight there to progress you through your story. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did or you found any of it useful, please go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to watch some of my other videos, you can click on screen now. You can also follow me on facebook.com/riotgaming, on Twitter @riotgaming, and for streaming at twitch.tv/riotgaming. Go ahead and leave a comment in the box below and let me know how you got on with this fight and what you thought of the video. You can also click on screen now to subscribe for even more content. But until next time guys, take care.